Hello. Soon we will begin reading Truman Capote's A Christmas Memory. Before we read, there are some literary devices that we need to discuss. Literary devices are writing tools. Truman Capote's writing is decorated with layers of literary devices. Capote's skillful use of literary devices in A Christmas Memory creates mood, provides rich imagery, conveys deeper meaning of symbols and themes, evokes strong emotions, and engages readers. Some of the prominent literary devices in A Christmas Memory are second-person point of view, syntax, parentheses, imagery, and symbolism. Let's discuss each of these. Second-person point of view is difficult to use, but it is a powerful tool used to reach straight out from the pages of a text and pull the reader into the story as an active participant. Truman Capote employs second-person point of view in the very first word of his short story, A Christmas Memory, saying, "Imagine a morning in late November." When Capote says, "imagine," he uses an implied you. You, reader. Capote's intent is to say to the reader, you there, reader. You imagine a morning in late November. Capote demands that the readers engage their imaginations and visualize the critical attributes of a late November morning. We know that syntax equals sentence structure. An important aspect of syntax is noting whether sentences are simple, compound, complex, or compound complex. In A Christmas Memory, Capote abandons the four types of sentences and begins multiple paragraphs with one word in complete sentences. His one-word sentences are very like stage directions in a play, which give the actors directions for where they are to move or stand and what sound effects should be heard. Paragraph 13 begins with this one-word syntax, footsteps. Paragraph 22 begins, friends. Paragraph 29 begins, morning. Paragraph 31 begins, home. Obviously, none of these one-word paragraph openers are complete sentences. However, because they are reminiscent of stage directions, they are an effective way of drawing the reader into the story, causing them to experience the story as if they were an invisible character. Let's discuss parentheses, which is whispering. Capote drew on one-word syntax that seems like stage directions to draw the reader into his story. Another theater device that Capote employs in A Christmas Memory is the use of parentheses. Think about the critical attributes of the punctuation mark parentheses. Think about two hands cupped around the speaker's mouth as they whisper a secret. Don't the cupped hands look similar to parentheses around the mouth? In theater, when an actor leans forward toward the audience with hands cupped around the mouth and speaks, the action is called an aside. The actor is whispering secrets to the audience that he does not want to share with the actors on the stage. Parentheses in a story are used to provide secrets or additional information to the reader. Similar to the theater term aside, information delivered via parentheses can be thought of as side notes. The first use of parentheses in A Christmas Memory can be found in paragraph 7. Our backs hurt from gathering them. How hard they were to find. The main crop having been shaken off the trees and sold by the orchard's owners, who are not us, among the concealing leaves. The whispered information lets the audience know that Sook and Buddy are picking up the leftover pecans after the pecans have already been harvested by the orchard's owners. Multiple times, Capote provides important information to his readers through the use of parentheses. Imagery. All authors use visual imagery to describe characters and setting. Building visual imagery in the mind of a reader is critical to comprehending a story. However, visual imagery is simply the basic, no-frill version of describing characters and setting. Excellent imagery involves multiple of the five senses. Seeing, which is visual imagery. Hearing, which is auditory imagery. Smelling, olfactory imagery. Touching, tactile imagery. And tasting, gustatory imagery. In A Christmas Memory, paragraph 7, Capote captures 4 of the 5 senses in one sentence. A cheery crunch, scraps of miniature thunder, sounds as the shells collapse, and the golden mound of sweet, oily ivory meat mounts in the milk glass bowl. Let's talk about the visual imagery in that sentence. Look at the word golden. That's a color word. Look at the word ivory. That's another color word. Look at the words milk glass. That's a description of a particular way that a bowl looks, a style of bowl. Let's look for words that make sounds. Crunch, thunder. Let's think about taste. Sweet. It tastes sweet. Think about the way it feels. Oh, it's oily. It's remarkable to put 4 different of the 5 senses in one sentence. That is excellent imagery. Symbolism. Symbolism is the use of objects to represent something beyond the object's literal meaning. Roads often symbolize a person's life. A fork in the road symbolizes an important choice that a person must make. A judge's gavel symbolizes justice, or is sometimes subverted to symbolize injustice. To determine if an object in a story is a symbol, follow these steps. First, identify objects that are repeatedly mentioned in the story. Second, note every literal description of the object. Third, consider what connection may exist between the literal description of the object and characters or events in the story. And last, use the information you've gathered to identify a symbol and its meaning. There are multiple symbols in A Christmas Memory. Let's practice following the steps to symbol identification. First, let's identify objects that are repeatedly mentioned in the story. How about starting with a baby buggy? A baby buggy utilized by Sook and Buddy is repeatedly mentioned. Second, let's note the literal descriptions of the baby buggy. Together, we guide our buggy, a dilapidated baby carriage, out to the garden and into a grove of pecan trees. The buggy is mine. That is, it was bought for me when I was born. It is made of wicker, rather unraveled, and the wheels wobble like a drunkard's leg. But it is a faithful object. Springtimes we take it to the woods and fill it with flowers, herbs, wild ferns from our porch pots. In the summer we pile it with picnic paraphernalia and sugarcane fishing poles and roll it down to the edge of the creek. It has its winter uses too, as a truck for hauling firewood from the yard to the kitchen, a warm bed for Queenie, our tough little orange and white rat terrier, who has survived distemper and 2 rattlesnake bites. Queenie is trotting beside it now. Consider what connection may exist between the literal description of the object and characters or events in the story. From the description of the buggy, we learn the buggy is in continual year-round use by Sook, Buddy, and Queenie. The buggy is dilapidated, its wicker is unraveling, its wheels are wobbly. The buggy is a faithful object. How do we connect what we know about the buggy to the characters? The buggy is an integral part of the friendship between a 60-something-year-old lady, a 7-year-old boy, and a dog. The buggy is looking worn. Its wheels are wobbling. Its wicker is unraveling. Sook, who is 60-something, is looking worn. The buggy was bought for Buddy when he was a baby. Queenie is always with Sook and Buddy. Oh, the baby buggy represents the friendship between an older person and a younger person and their dog. As you enjoy reading Truman Capote's A Christmas Memory, annotate for the usual literary devices such as simile and metaphor, but pay special attention to the literary devices we discussed today: syntax, parentheses, imagery, and symbolism. Enjoy.